The trees opened up like a mouth, swallowing the road ahead. I should have turned back right then. But the GPS kept telling me to go straight into the woods, straight toward a house that wasn't on any map. This happened last fall, near the tail end of my contract with a third-party courier service. You know the type. No benefits, no face-to-face interaction. Just scan, drop, drive, repeat. My territory was mostly rural Illinois, the kind of place where trees outnumber people 10 to 1 and internet service is a suggestion. That Friday, my last drop of the day showed up as 404 Leadham Lane. Sounded normal enough. The package was a mid-sized brown box, no return label, just a typed shipping slip taped to the top. The client's instructions read, "Leave on front step. Do not knock. Do not wait." Creepy, but not unheard of. People get weird about privacy. I punched the address into the van's GPS and started driving. The main roads were fine, but things got sketchier the deeper I went. Gravel turned to dirt. Street signs disappeared. Eventually, even the tire ruts looked like they'd been swallowed by weeds. Still, the GPS kept insisting I was almost there. Just when I was ready to give up, the trees broke, revealing a wide clearing with a pale blue house sitting dead in the center. Big porch. No cars. No mailbox. And no visible lights. But the GPS chirped. "You have arrived." The house looked wrong. Not abandoned exactly, just paused. Like no one had lived there for a long time, but someone still might. I grabbed the package and walked toward the porch. Leaves crunched underfoot. The boards groaned under my boots. A dirty ceramic frog sat by the door like it was waiting for someone to say hello. I crouched, set the package down, and turned back to leave. That's when I noticed something behind the window. Movement. A curtain twitching. Just slightly. As if someone had been watching me. I froze. Seconds passed. Nothing else moved. The wind had died, and the woods felt like they were holding their breath. Then, a faint click. The front door was now ajar. Open maybe 2 inches. I hadn't touched it. I called out, "Hey! Just dropping off your package!" No answer. I backed away, kept my eyes on the door. The house didn't respond. I made it back to the van and slammed the door shut. Started the engine. GPS reset. But here's the thing, when I tried to navigate back to the highway, Leadham Lane didn't show up. Not on Google Maps, not on my delivery app, not anywhere. Just gone. I drove the route backward from memory, heart racing, pulse in my ears. It took nearly 45 minutes to get back to a recognizable road. I didn't stop. Didn't look back. I figured I'd misread something. Maybe the address was a fluke. Maybe my app bugged out. Until the next day, when that same address popped up on my manifest again. I stared at the address on the manifest like it had crawled up from a bad dream. 404 Leadham Lane. Same as yesterday. Same. Leave at door. Instructions. Same weird formatting on the shipping label. I thought about refusing the job. But I needed the hours, and it was supposed to be my last week. Besides, maybe it'd be normal this time. Maybe I imagined everything. Yeah. I wish. Around 5 p.m., I turned onto that same washed-out dirt road. Same winding path, same trees pressing in like they wanted to keep me. But this time, when I reached the clearing, something had changed. The house was closer. I swear to you, it was closer to the tree line than yesterday. By maybe 10 feet. Subtle, but real. The porch steps looked newer, the wood darker, like it had rained on only that part of the property. And this time, there was a car. Old. Dented. Blue sedan. Just sitting there in the yard. No plates. No dust. I parked farther back, grabbed the package, and walked slowly toward the porch. The ceramic frog was gone. No sign of it anywhere. I placed the package down like before, but as I stood up, the door swung open again, this time all the way. Just creaked open, slow and deliberate. Inside was pitch black. No lights. No voices. Just the smell, musty, moldy, coppery. Like a butcher's shop sealed inside an old attic. I backed up fast. My instincts were screaming. Every step away from that doorway felt like a fight against some invisible current trying to pull me in. Then, behind me, a voice. "Got another one?" I turned. A man was standing beside my van. I hadn't heard him walk up. Mid-40s maybe. Greasy gray hair, reflective jacket like he'd stolen it from a road crew. I stammered. "Just, delivery." "Yeah." He didn't blink. Didn't smile. "That place takes a lot of boxes," he said. "Strange, right? No one ever answers." "Do you live nearby?" I asked. He shook his head slowly. "Used to. Moved away. Don't come out here much now, except when I see someone new parked where they shouldn't be." I tried to sound casual. "What is this place?" He looked at the house. Then at me. Then said something that still crawls in my head when I try to sleep. "It wasn't here last year." I didn't know what to say. So I got in the van. Locked the doors. Left fast, leaving dust behind me. Didn't care if the app confirmed the drop or not. When I got back to the depot, I looked up the manifest again. There was no record of the Leadham Lane stop. Not in my logs. Not on the route history. Not on the pay stub. Nothing. I told my manager. He shrugged. "Probably a system glitch," he said. "Happens sometimes." That night I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m. I checked my email. New assignment just posted for the morning. Same address. Attached was a message I hadn't seen before. No sender. No subject. Just one line. "Keep coming. We're almost ready." I didn't show up the next day. I quit the job. Deleted the app. Blocked the number. But even now, months later, I still get the emails. Always around 2 a.m. Always the same line. "Keep coming. We're almost ready." I've never gone back. Never will. But if your delivery route ever takes you down a road the map can't find, if the same house keeps reappearing like a bad memory, don't get curious. Because some houses don't want a delivery. They want a courier. It was a no-contact delivery. Drop the box, take the photo, move on. But when I raised my phone to snap the proof of delivery shot, the upstairs curtain twitched, and I swear, I saw an eye watching me through the fabric. This was about 6 months ago, and it was supposed to be just another run through one of those neighborhoods that looks like it was built overnight. Cookie-cutter homes, silent cul-de-sacs, lawns trimmed like military haircuts. No people. Just houses. I was filling in on a suburban route in a town I didn't know. Lot of Amazon parcels. Quick drop-offs. Most houses didn't even look lived in. You know the type, perfect but sterile. The kind of place where nothing bad ever looks like it happens. I'd been cruising through stops with no problem until I hit 28 Burge Hollow Drive. The GPS showed it as just another beige-on-beige house with a porch and a fake rock garden. The delivery instructions were short. No knock. Leave at door. Photo required. Simple. I parked, grabbed the box, light, maybe some clothes or books, and headed up the walkway. Everything was still. No cars. No lights. But the mailbox was overflowing, and the front steps had tiny dead leaves collected in every corner. No footprints. No Halloween decorations, even though it was mid-October. I figured the owners were out of town. I placed the package on the doormat, angled it nice and neat, pulled out my phone to snap the photo. And then I saw it. The curtain on the second floor, the one right above the front door, tugged inward. Just a little. Then again. I squinted, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. And then the curtain shifted just enough to reveal something behind it. A single, staring eye. It blinked. Slowly. Then disappeared. I stumbled back a step, phone still in hand, the camera open. For a second I thought, okay, someone's home, no big deal. Maybe they're just shy. But something about the way that I moved, It wasn't casual. It didn't notice me. It was watching me. Like it had been watching long before I ever showed up. I snapped the photo fast, turned around, and walked briskly back to the van. But before I got in, I looked back once more. The curtain had moved again. Not just shifted, pulled wide open. No one was there. Just an empty, dark window. But I swear to you, swear on my own name, the eye was still there. Not on a person. Just, floating in the shadow, like it never needed a face to begin with. I got in the van and drove off fast, but I couldn't stop shaking. My stomach was twisted up, and for the rest of the shift, I kept looking in the rearview mirror like that I might suddenly appear behind me. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes I saw it. Watching. Silent. 2 days later, I got a message through the delivery app's customer service portal. I never used that thing, so it was weird. The message read, "Thanks for the drop-off at Birch Hollow." You didn't wave back. I didn't reply. I archived it. Deleted the route from my log. But yesterday, I got assigned a last-minute reroute. Guess which house popped up? 28 Birch Hollow Drive. Same instructions. Same note. Same empty window on the map preview. I'm supposed to go tomorrow. And I'm not sure if I will. But if I do, I won't be looking up. I told myself I wouldn't go back. I meant it too. But you know how this job works. If the manifest says urgent, and you're on shift, you don't have a choice. You show up, or someone else finishes your route, and maybe your contract gets quietly dropped. So the next afternoon, around 4:30, I found myself driving toward 28 Birch Hollow Drive again. I kept telling myself it'd be fine. Just a house. Just another weird resident. Probably some old guy with dementia or some kid messing around with a Halloween prank cam. That lie lasted right up until I pulled onto the block. Because the house? It was exactly the same. I mean exactly. Same carless driveway. Same dead leaves in the same exact corners of the porch steps. Same overflowing mailbox, letters untouched. Not a single thing had changed since I'd last been there. Not one leaf moved. Like time had skipped this one house. I parked but kept the engine running this time. Grabbed the box, same shape, same weight, and walked halfway up the path before stopping. The front door was already open. Just a crack. Not enough to see inside. Just enough to feel like it was inviting me. I set the box down farther from the door than usual. Snapped the photo. No eye this time. No curtain movement. No face. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched. As I turned to go, the porch light flicked on. I didn't touch anything. The switch was inside. I walked faster. Got in the van, locked the doors. That's when I noticed my phone had a new notification from the delivery app. A message. No sender listed. Just 5 words. Don't forget to wave goodbye. I didn't wave. I drove. Fast. Got to the next stop and sat there, trying to breathe, trying to shake the pins and needles crawling up my arms. I went the rest of the shift pretending it hadn't happened. But later that night, around 11:20, I got a knock at my apartment door. No one ever knocks on my door. I live alone. 3rd floor. No elevator. No neighbors I talk to. I didn't open it. I waited. Listened. Then another knock. Slower. Then, a sliding sound. Like paper being pushed under the door. I crept over and looked through the peephole. No one was there. Just empty hallway. I waited 10 minutes before picking up the paper. It was a printout of the photo I'd taken earlier, at Birch Hollow. You could clearly see the box on the porch. But now, there was a figure in the window. Barely visible. Shadowy. Arms down, head tilted. Looking straight at the camera. The back of the printout had writing scrawled in shaky black ink. Now we see each other. That's when I moved. New apartment. New job. Different city. I told the new company no suburban routes. No gated neighborhoods. And definitely no birch anything. But the eye. I still see it sometimes. In reflections. In glass doors at night. And once, God help me, I swear I saw it blinking at me from my rearview mirror while parked at a gas station. So if you're ever out on a delivery and a house looks a little too still, too clean, too quiet, too paused, and the curtain twitches just as your camera focuses, don't wave. Don't look. Don't go back. Because once it sees you, you're never off-route again. The first time it happened, I thought I was just sleep-deprived. But when the exact same box I'd left on a stranger's porch showed up in my trunk, tape untouched, label still wet, I realized something was seriously wrong. They don't tell you how monotonous it gets. Courier work, I mean. It's not the miles or the hours. It's the repetition. Same streets, same stops, same awkward wave from people who refuse to say thanks. But a few months ago, I started noticing something off. It started with a package, medium-sized, generic brown, black and white labels slapped right across the top. The destination, 212 Weller Court. I'd been there before, once or twice. Nice place. Ranch style, green shutters, usually had a garden hose coiled perfectly on the porch. That day, it looked the same. I walked up, dropped the box, took the photo, and drove off. 5 stops later, I heard a thump from the back of the van. Nothing unusual, boxes shift sometimes. But when I parked and slid open the cargo door, it was sitting right there. That same damn box. Same size. Same label. 212 Weller Court. At first, I thought I'd made a mistake. Maybe I'd scanned the wrong one. Maybe I never actually dropped it. So I drove back. The box I'd delivered was still on the porch, right where I'd left it. Now I had 2. I double-checked the labels. Identical. Same timestamp, same tracking code. Impossible. Still, I shrugged it off. Tossed the extra in the return bin back at the depot and figured someone else could deal with the glitch. Next day, I got the same route. Same house. Same package. Only now it was the only one in the van when I started my shift. I called dispatch. "This happens sometimes," the guy said. "Just take a picture and mark it delivered." "I already did that," I told him. He paused. "Wait, this one was already dropped yesterday?" "Yep. And it came back." Another pause. "Alright, just redeliver it. Let the system cycle." Whatever the hell that meant. So I did it again. Dropped it. Snapped a new photo. This time, I even knocked. No one answered, but I waited a full minute before leaving. No movement. Just a silent house under gray skies. Later that night, I checked the van before heading in for the night. Empty. Cool. Done. Until I got home and opened my trunk to grab groceries. And found the package sitting there. I didn't even use the van that day. I had taken my personal car. I stood there, trunk open, skin crawling, watching my breath fog in the cold air. The label was still wet like it had just been printed. No return address. No sender. No indication of what was inside. I grabbed it and walked to the dumpster behind my building. Threw it in. Slammed the lid shut. Didn't even want it near me. But the next morning, it was back in the van. Front seat. Seatbelt in. Like a goddamn passenger. That was the first time I actually thought about opening it. Just tearing off the tape and seeing what was inside. Something about it felt personal now. Like it was waiting for me to notice. Like I was the destination. But I didn't open it. I should have. Because the next time it showed up, it was already opened. The next time the package showed up, it wasn't sealed. It was on my passenger seat this time. Just sitting there with the flaps open like it had been casually rifled through. By me, or by someone else, I still don't know. I hadn't touched it since throwing it in the dumpster. I know I didn't. But there it was. I stopped the van, parked under a street lamp, and stared at it for a long time before I dared lean over. Inside was a stack of Polaroid photos. Each one showed the same scene, me, standing on a porch, holding the box. Different angles. Different times of day. Sometimes I was mid-step, sometimes crouched down, placing the package on the mat. In one of them, I was looking straight at the camera. My skin went cold. I flipped through them faster now, dozens, maybe 100. Every one was crisp, clean. Not old. Not faded. Fresh. And all from outside the house. Which meant someone else had taken them. But then I got to the last one. It was a photo of my apartment door. At night. The timestamp in the corner? Today. 3:14 a.m. I almost dropped it. My hands were shaking too hard. I drove straight home. Not smart, I know, but I had to know if someone had been there. If anyone saw anything. The security cameras outside my building weren't even working, just blinking red lights on dummy cams. I checked my door. No sign of forced entry. No damage. But something small had been slipped under the welcome mat, another label. Same formatting as the delivery tags. Except this one didn't have a destination. It had a name. My name. That was the moment I decided to open the damn box completely, check for anything else. Maybe there was a return slip, a note, something that would explain it. So I tore it apart. And underneath the Polaroids, tucked into a corner, was a folded envelope. Inside? A key. Just one. Small. Brass. With a tag attached that read, Unit 212. Weller Court. I don't know how long I sat there in my van holding that key, heart hammering so hard it felt like it might break something inside me. I didn't go to Weller Court. Couldn't. Wouldn't. I filed a report with the company, quit the next day, and started sleeping with the hallway light on. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. I tried to forget. Burned the label. Shredded the photos. Tossed the box in a river. Then, 2 nights ago, I got a knock on my apartment door. No one knocks. Not at night. Not here. I looked through the peephole. No one there. But when I opened the door, I found a package sitting on my welcome mat. No tape. No label. I opened it. Inside was a single Polaroid. Me. Sitting on my couch. Taken from outside the window. Timestamp. Now. I don't know how to explain what's happening. I don't know who's sending the box, or why it always finds me. But I know one thing. It isn't about where I drop it off anymore. It's about what's coming back. And if it ever shows up with me already in the picture again, doing something I haven't done yet, I think I'll understand what it really delivers. Not mail. Destiny. And I won't be able to refuse it. The porch was empty when I rang the bell. No car. No lights. No toys in the yard. But as I walked away, I heard tiny footsteps behind me, and when I turned, there was a child staring up at me. People always think delivering in the suburbs is the easy gig. Sidewalks. Numbers you can actually read. Driveways instead of muddy ditches. And for the most part, yeah, it's simpler. But it also makes you drop your guard. This was 2 weeks before Christmas. Cold but not snowing. The kind of afternoon where the sky goes gray by 3 p.m. and people leave their porch lights off because they haven't realized how early it gets dark now. I was on the last stretch of a long-ass shift. My back hurt, my fingers were stiff, and I was counting every stop between me and the warehouse. The house was nothing special. Pale blue, cracked driveway, bare porch. Address matched the package in my hand. The delivery instructions said, "Leave at door. No knock." I set it down, snapped the photo, and turned around. That's when I heard it, quick, light footsteps behind me. Bare feet on wood. I looked back. A little boy, maybe 5 years old, stood at the edge of the porch. No jacket. Just a stained t-shirt and shorts. Middle of December. His skin looked pale, like he hadn't been outside in a while. He didn't say anything. Just stared at me. I glanced at the door, still shut. "You okay, buddy?" I asked. He kept staring. "Is your mom or dad home?" Still nothing. I took a slow step toward the porch, just enough to see if he'd react. That's when he smiled. But it wasn't happy. It was tight. Unblinking. Like a smile someone told him to practice in a mirror but never explained why. "Hey," I said again, more gently this time. "You shouldn't be out here without shoes. Where are your parents?" Then he said in a low, flat voice, "She's watching from the basement." Every hair on my arm stood up. I looked around. No lights in the house. No movement inside. Nothing. "What do you mean?" I asked. He turned slowly and pointed to a basement window, one of those narrow ground-level ones half buried in the yard. "Down there," he said. "She's been waiting all day." I didn't know what the hell to do. Call the cops? Knock on the door? I didn't want to scare the kid, but I also didn't want to just walk away. I crouched down a little, eye level with him. "What's your name?" He didn't answer. "Do you live here?" Still nothing. Just that smile. I stood up and pulled out my phone. That's when he turned and ran. Not into the house. Not to the basement. He bolted down the steps of the porch and toward the street, fast, barefoot on cracked pavement. "Hey!" I shouted. "Stop!" I dropped the package, took off after him. But the second I reached the sidewalk, he was gone. No kid. No sign of him. No neighbors in sight. Just cold, empty stillness. I circled the house. Looked down the street. Nothing. No movement in any direction. Finally, I knocked on the door. No one answered. I reported it, of course. Called it in, flagged the stop. Told dispatch what happened. They thanked me, said they'd follow up. That was a month ago. Yesterday, I got a delivery for the same address. Different package. And under the special instructions field? One line. "She's still in the basement. He wants you to see." I didn't want to go back. Everything in me was screaming to skip the stop, lie on the report, fake the delivery photo. But the package was marked "Priority customer confirmation required," which meant they'd check. Which meant I had to face it again. As I pulled onto the street, something struck me immediately. The house looked different. The grass was shorter. The siding, once dull and chipped, looked cleaner. There was even a wreath on the door. The driveway, which had been cracked and pale, now looked freshly sealed. But it was the same address. Same house. I parked across the street and sat for a moment, engine idling, just watching. No sign of the boy. I walked up to the porch, package in hand. When I reached the top step, the front door opened. Just like that. No sound. No footsteps. No shadow behind the door. It opened slow, like it had been waiting for me. I called out, "Hello? Delivery here." No answer. Just silence. I should have left it and walked away. Should have followed protocol. But then I saw the kid. He was standing inside, just past the entryway, in the exact same clothes as before. That stained shirt. Those bare feet. Same weird, unblinking smile. He didn't say anything. Just turned and started walking down a hall. Toward the back of the house. And I can't explain this part, I followed. I don't remember deciding to. But the next thing I knew, I was stepping inside, door swinging shut behind me. It was warm inside. Too warm. Stale air, thick with something sweet and rotting. The house looked staged. Like a model home. Too clean. Too symmetrical. Picture frames with no photos. A coffee table with magazines no one reads anymore. I called out again, louder. "Hello? Sir? Ma'am?" No answer. Just the creaking floor beneath the boy's feet as he walked ahead and pointed to a door at the end of the hall. A basement door. My mouth was dry. My hands numb. "I can't go down there," I said. He didn't move. Just kept pointing. "You said she was watching from the basement," I added. "Is she your mom?" Still nothing. I reached out and gently pushed the basement door open. It groaned, revealing wooden steps descending into thick darkness. I stood there, frozen, waiting for something, anything, to come up from below. Then I heard it. Breathing. Heavy. Labored. Just at the bottom of the stairs. I couldn't see her. But she was there. Then a voice, hoarse, female, cracked like it hadn't been used in weeks, spoke. "You came back." I turned and ran. Not just out of the hallway, not just off the porch. I sprinted to my van, heart in my throat, hands shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. When I looked back, the front door was shut. No sign of the boy. No wreath. Just that same old house again. Peeling paint. Cracked driveway. I reported it, again. I even tried filing a police wellness check. They told me no one lived at that address. The property had been vacant for 4 years. I said I'd seen people. A child. They said I was mistaken. But the next morning, taped to the back door of my van, was a piece of printer paper. One sentence. All caps. "Come back. You're hers now." I'm not going back. I'm not driving anymore. I don't care how many packages they send. Because some houses don't want deliveries. They want replacements. It was supposed to be an easy signature-required drop-off. But when the man opened the door, he looked like he hadn't slept in days. And before I could even speak, he shoved an envelope in my hand and whispered, "Bury this." I used to love the idea of special deliveries. Made me feel like I wasn't just tossing Amazon boxes on porches for people who'd already forgotten they ordered something. When you're the guy handing over the real deal, the signature-required, hand-to-hand stuff, it feels official. Personal. This one was different, though. I knew it the second I scanned the barcode. No company listed. No return address. No branding. Just a name, a location, and a note in the app. Deliver directly. Signature required. Do not leave unattended. Knock 3 times. No more, no less. Weird, but not the weirdest thing I've seen. People get twitchy about their stuff, especially when it comes to money or meds. The address was in a dying part of town, a place full of boarded-up shops and houses sagging under their own weight. I'd been through the area before, never liked it. Roads felt too narrow. Windows always looked too dark. But the house itself wasn't what I expected. Red brick. Clean porch. Lights on inside. It looked normal, boring even. I parked at the curb, grabbed the thin cardboard envelope, and followed the instructions. 3 knocks. Exactly. Then I waited. A full 30 seconds passed before I heard the sound. Locks sliding. 1. 2. Then the door creaked open just enough for a man to peek through. He looked hollow. Mid-40s maybe. Gaunt face. Deep bags under his eyes. Hair slicked to his scalp like he hadn't showered in a week. And a smell hit me, metallic, bitter, like old meat and sweat. Still, I smiled like I always do. "Delivery from Mr. Harlan? Just need a sign here." He cut me off. Not with words, with motion. He shoved something into my hand. Not the stylus, not a pen. Not even the envelope I was holding. This was a different envelope. Thicker. Dark red stains blooming around the edges. Before I could react, he whispered, "Bury this. Don't open it. Don't show it to anyone." Then he took the package from my other hand, nodded, and shut the door. Just like that. I stood there in stunned silence, envelope clenched in my fingers, heart starting to thud. I wanted to believe it was a prank. Maybe ketchup. Maybe some sick Halloween thing. But when I stepped off the porch and the street light hit the envelope just right, I could see the texture of the stain. It was dry. Dark. Too dark for ketchup. Too thin for paint. I got back in the van and sat there for a full minute. Just breathing. Just staring at it on the passenger seat. Then I did the one thing I wish I hadn't. I lifted the flap. Just a peek. Inside was a single Polaroid photo. It showed a hand, severed, resting on a newspaper. Fresh. The fingers curled. Blood pooling underneath. And in the background? That same red brick house. Same porch. Same front door. I slammed the envelope shut and nearly dropped it in the footwell. My first instinct was to call the police. But my phone buzzed before I could. Unknown number. One new message. Do not report. You've been recorded. Finish what he asked? I drove. Didn't even think. I just drove until I found a remote patch of dirt by the woods 20 minutes outside town. I dug with a tire iron. Threw the envelope in. Covered it. And when I got back to the van, there was another message. No number. Just the screen lighting up like a notification had been burned into it. Thank you. You're free to go. But I wasn't. After that night, I kept telling myself I was done. I buried it. I followed the instructions. I didn't call anyone. Didn't talk. Didn't ask questions. But you don't just walk away from something like that. Not when your face was probably on a camera. Not when someone out there knew your name, your van, your route, knew that you opened the envelope. For a while, everything was quiet. Then came the second delivery. It showed up on my manifest like any other, signature required, no drop-off, same format. Blank sender. Just an address and one note. Repeat client. Same red brick house. This time, I hesitated. I called dispatch and asked if they could reassign the route. Made up an excuse about engine noise or delays. They said no. Said the client requested me. I thought about quitting right then. But fear does strange things to your brain. I convinced myself maybe this one would be normal. Maybe the first guy was gone. Maybe it was a mistake. It wasn't. I pulled up late, close to 9 p.m. The street was even darker than I remembered. No lights in any windows. The house looked abandoned. Still, I got out with the envelope. Same size. Same weight. No stains this time. I didn't even get to the porch before the door opened. It wasn't the same man. This one was older, hunched, with long white hair and hands that trembled like he hadn't touched a warm thing in years. He didn't speak. Just reached out, took the package from me, and slowly pointed down the street. I turned. At the end of the block, under a flickering lamp post, a black car was idling. Windows tinted. Engine running. Driver invisible. I turned back toward the house, but the man was gone. Doors shut. No footsteps. No noise. Just gone. That night the dreams started. Dark rooms. Polaroids fluttering in the air like falling leaves. I kept waking up with the taste of dirt in my mouth. And then came the third envelope. At my apartment. No label. Just resting against my door when I got home from a grocery run. I didn't touch it. Not right away. But eventually I opened it. Inside was another photo. This time, it was me, digging the hole in the woods, hands dirty, tire iron in frame. And written across the bottom in marker. Proof of loyalty. Next to it was a USB drive. I don't own a computer. I went to the library the next day, heart pounding, palms slick. Plugged it in. There were 3 folders. No names. No icons. Each contained surveillance footage. Not from stores. Not from the street. From inside homes. All 3 videos showed people, tied to chairs. Gagged. Struggling. Crying. In the last video, a gloved hand reached toward the camera, and everything went black. I yanked the USB, wiped the station, and left. I never told anyone. I just packed my shit. Left the city. Switched phones. Changed my name on every delivery app. Started fresh. It's been 8 months. Sometimes I still get the texts. You were a good courier. We remember loyalty. Thank you for burying him. I don't reply. But every once in a while, I find an envelope outside my door. Empty. Just a reminder. They know where I am. And I think, I was never chosen for the job. I was tested. And I passed.